I am the last human in the world. Every day I live a repetitive life. All resources are at my disposal. I move my bedroom right into the middle of the street, using a 1,000-year-old antique as a urinal, and no clothes at all. Wake up at 6 a.m. sharp, go to the store and start buying for $0, and feed the chickens with powdered milk. Pick some strawberries for dessert, watering the corn with a fire truck. Fill the generator with gasoline. Finally, turn on the radio and call every channel. As usual, no answer. Every day for 2.5 years. After all this, I came to the biggest football stadium to play the World Cup finals with the fashion models. I shoot the ball alone. Then I look up to the sky and scream, I am the king of the ball. So far I have finished everything for the day, but only 2 hours have passed. I can only sit with the models, passing the time with all kinds of romance movies. Finally, nightfall. I stood up and stretched. The most exciting event of the day is about to begin. I walked into the parking lot and lifted a sheet. Picked out a Lamborghini today, with the roar of the engine starting. I'm speeding down the highway, feeling the speed and the passion. I put my foot on the gas, then I growled and stood up, wantlessly venting the loneliness in my heart. Suddenly, I was shocked to see a figure appear in front of me. I jerked the steering wheel subconsciously. Finally, the car stops after a few hundred meters of rubbing against the guardrail. I didn't pay any attention to the bruises on my face. Instead, I walked toward the back with a flashlight. There's a thrill in my heart that I can't describe. What I just saw wasn't an illusion. There really is a girl with a sheep in her arms. She was more excited to see me than I was. Then she ran and jumped into my arms. I felt the warmth of the girl's embrace. Only then did I dare to believe it. I'm not the only one in the world. We didn't say a word, just hold each other tightly. After returning to the station, I gave her all the good things to eat. The girl said she was from Lhasa, because when the apocalypse broke out, there were rumors that high altitude would avert disaster. That's why countless people went to Zizing. But in the end, they all died. The girl had received a satellite signal indicating a human colony in the north. And so she began a journey of 1 man and 1 goat. For 9 months, I was the first person she met. I tried to connect to the satellite TV while listening to her. And it worked. A foreign leader is on the screen, an invitation to survivors around the globe. And as the image of the crowd gathering appeared on the screen, we both couldn't contain our excitement any longer. We cheered wildly. There are still human beings, and there are a lot of them. That night, the girl and I agreed to go to the nearest survivor city, Biting. The next day we got our supplies ready. I released the chickens that had been with me for 3 years. I got in my car and set off with high hopes. On the way, we met a field of melons. She picked 2 baskets of watermelons, and I went and collected some communication devices and asked her to try and see if she could network them. I didn't think it would work. The girl looked at people's posts and noticed something unusual. I can't believe everyone's talking about men. So now the whole world is devoid of men. I've become the last male on Earth. How will you feel when you realize you're the last male on Earth? I froze for 3 seconds, and then I laughed uncontrollably. The youngest girl in my party looks at me with contempt and helplessness. Late afternoon. We pass a hot spring hotel. I slam the gas pedal on the glass door and drive right into the lobby. It's a habit I've picked up over the years of living alone in the post-apocalyptic world. When I got off the bus, I said to little sister, I'll let you soak in a hot spring in a little while, and then have a beautiful sleep. Tomorrow, we'll go straight to Biting's human colony. When I'm done, I'll bring out the generator and the heating rods to heat the water. Little sister muttered with disgust, fake hot springs. After the water heats up I leave little sister here to take a bath and go find some clothes myself. As soon as I left, I thought of something important. I ran right back and yelled, make sure you unplug it before you wash it. The little sister yells in anger. I turned around and ran away. I went to the mall and picked out all sorts of things. Then I picked out a dress for little sister in the clothing section. I picked out a handsome suit for myself. The next day we drove to Biting with great expectations. Plan to have roast duck first when we arrive. Then we'll spend the night in Bugong. The more we think about it, the better. Suddenly, a few people appeared on the grass in front of us. This is the first group of humans we've seen in 3 years. Little sister is excitedly shouting out her greetings. But I saw something was wrong. I hurriedly shouted, drive and don't stop. It wasn't long before the welcome to Biting sign was out front, and underneath the sign were a couple of dead women. Looks like Biting may not be what we thought it was. A roadblock has suddenly appeared at the turn ahead. Several heavily armed women have stopped us. I instantly tense up and mess up my hair to try and cover my face. Then I whispered to little sister to get out of there, but she doesn't realize the danger. Not only did she stop her car, but she naively said she was here to participate in the rebuilding effort. Just then a woman with glasses spotted me. She raised her gun and ordered me to get out of the car. I reached out and grabbed a wrench and prepared to open the door. Suddenly a purple-haired woman ran from behind and shouted, Sister Na, they're one of us. Then she put 2 chocolates in Na's hand, and then she took us away. The purple-haired woman sat in the backseat and picked up the lamb and said directly, I saved your lives. Save this sheep for me. It turns out that she came to rescue us because she was eyeing our lamb, and she thought I was a fake man dressed as a woman. Little sister heard this and immediately retorted loudly that he was not a fake man. I hurriedly shouted to stop little sister from talking. You can't have the sheep. The purple hair froze at the sound. Pulling out a pistol, she said, how about I trade you this? And then she put the gun to my head. I stopped the car. I was so nervous, but I still said, I can't give you the sheep. The purple-haired is about to get out of the car with the lamb in her arms. I grabbed her arm. Eyes are fixed firmly on her. She saw how tough I was and had to stop. After getting off the car, she said, "You fake man is really a bit manly." Soon after we left, we made our way to the coalition government's office in Biding. The person in charge was a blonde woman. They were very surprised to learn that I was a man. The girl in purple is more excited because she's from the same country as me. She immediately took out her cell phone and sent a message online. The last mail is from Huaxia, and he was standing right next to me. The man in charge and I rushed to stop it, but we were still too late. The message exploded less than 1 second after it was sent. All the countries are saying the same thing. They're going to fight to the death to get me, the last male standing. And this sneaky bitch is very bad. Not only did she expose me to the internet, which led to women from all over the world trying to steal me, but she also tried to take me down in the street. I used all my strength and vowed not to comply. We're at a stalemate. A couple of luxury cars came to a screeching halt. The Ferrari in the center has been dressed up as a wedding car. The Diao woman coming down from the top is the head of the Northeast Army. They're the biggest gang in the north since the end of the world. Diao saw me and said with a teasing look, "Get in the car. Hubby, I've come all the way here to pick you up. Let's go to Fugong and get married." And then she came to me with a big smile on her face. The blonde immediately stopped in the middle of the room and said stiffly to Sister Diao, "This is a Beimei coalition government leased area. You can't do anything you want." Diao's face instantly sank when she heard this, and she looked at the foreigner fiercely and said, "Listen carefully. This is Huaxia." I got blood all over my face. The woman who declared her right to mate with me has fallen before me. I'm looking into the black hole of a gun. Inside, I thought, this woman with the gun is even scarier. It's gonna be hard to get out of here without some kind of surprise. So I suddenly rushed forward and pinned Diao down. But anyone who can be the leader of an army is no ordinary man. With a little force in her hand, she actually dropped me to the ground. And then she subdued me with 2 easy strokes. And then a shovel fell from the sky. It's another foreigner with a backhoe. She's attacking Diao with a shovel and yelling at me to run. The rest of the Tohoku army is shooting at the excavator. I took advantage of this moment to grab little sister and get out of there. At this point, the bitch who exposed me to the camera is fucking coming out, yelling, "Don't go." I threw a wrench at her head. "Fuck you, bitch." I'm a little bit relieved that I got rid of the camera whore. Now Diao is the biggest threat. And sure enough, we didn't get very far before the Ferrari caught up with us. Diao is standing in the car, loudly molesting me. I'm so scared. I closed the window. She got more excited when she saw that I was scared. She jumped right into my car. I didn't realize women were so crazy about chasing men. I wonder if I would meet the last woman in the world and chase me as crazy as she does. The sound of breaking glass woke me up. This woman broke my window with her bare hands. My heart's defenses completely collapsed, thinking, if she climbs into the car, I might as well obey her. At this moment, there's a motorcycle roaring behind us. Diao's brow tightens when she turns around and mutters, "Damn it, it's those annoying bastards again." They're the northern guerrillas known as the Men's Gang. I got nervous. I'm so worried that my precious body will be taken over by them. At this point, the boss of the men's club and Diao are already fighting on the roof of my car. I've been using my brakes to disrupt Diao's attacks from time to time. Instead of getting angry, Diao smiled and said she'd deal with me tonight. I was even more flustered when I heard that. I'd rather study than be with her at night. I quickly picked up the gun and aimed it at her mink coat. One shot right through the opening in the coat. Sister Diao was hung on a billboard. Finally got rid of this sick woman. I'm so excited. After another kilometer, a men's motorcycle unit cuts me off. I quickly shouted to stop them. "Don't come over here. I know Kung Fu." Boss looked at me and said seriously, "We don't want to get your body. What we need is your spirit. Because we're a gang of men. We're fighting for male power in this age of women. You, the last male, are our spiritual flag. If you'll stay, we'll keep you well protected." I didn't think much after hearing this and rejected them on the spot. Unexpectedly, not only did they not give me any trouble, they also gave me weapons, gasoline and other supplies. I was touched by their hospitality. I made a man's gesture and shouted their slogan, "Men live forever, fight for men." These fake men were instantly excited after hearing this. Start cheering like crazy. Little sister got down on the car and looked at them and said, "These people are genuinely happy to see you afterward." And I told her, "They're all a bunch of psychopaths. Let's run." This time I learned from my mistakes and dressed up like a woman. But it wasn't long before the road ahead was blocked. I was just about to move away from the roadblock. We were surrounded by people flying down from the bridge. They thought we were spies for the Northeastern Army. They took us to a courtyard called the Jiangnan Mansion. The owner of the garden is a refined and intellectual woman. She recognized me at once as the last male. Fortunately, she's not interested in me, and agreed to let us go. I'm just relieved. A captain of the guard named Hong Ying has stepped forward and shouted, "I'll take this man. I'll let him go when he gives me a son." The girl drank a bottle of high liquor in 1 second, then slammed the bottle heavily on the floor, kicked in the door to my room, yelled at me, "I have to take you down tonight." I was terrified, because I was the last male in the world. Watching her step closer to me, I rushed to take out the fruit knife I'd hidden under my pillow to defend myself, but the girl lived up to her name as captain of the guard. One big slap and I'm on the bed. And then, when the last of my pants were thrown under the bed, helplessness quickly spreads throughout my body. My dignity as a man had been devastatingly violated. Now I have only one thought: bite my tongue. Here comes director at the crucial moment. Raging at the girl, let go of the boy. The Northeastern Army has reached the city. You're still here doing this kind of thing. Now go and organize the arming and interception right now. They've already made their point. They're going to steal the last male in the world. So do your best to stop them. And, if I find out that something like today happened again, I'll stop your supplies. Director's words have worked. The girl heard this and quickly got off of me and drunkenly left the room. Jiangnan has a stunning view at night, but I'm in a terrible mood. Looking at myself, beaten like a pig's head. A few words quickly passed through my mind. I can't stand it. The sound of 2 footsteps came from behind them. I don't need to see it to know it's director and her sister. The sister's words of comfort don't work at all. I whisper to the director, "Why do women become so powerful?" Director says, "So far no one knows why. If you want to know why, you have to get your act together and find out for yourself." I looked at her quizzically. "Did you agree to let me go? Don't you want to keep me as your last male?" Director said coldly, "You'll only bring more trouble here if you stay. Besides, you're not even a man in my eyes. Men don't run away and kill themselves when they're frustrated like you. You look to me more like a child leaving home for the first time. And it's not strength you need now, it's will. And the determination to not stop until you find the answer." After saying that, she pulls out a picture and continues. "This man is a biologist. She's rescued 16 sperm banks since the world ran out of men, and then conducted tens of thousands of artificial insemination trials, but they all failed. She's now the head of the Beimei disaster trace. We're trying to find the cause of the disaster, because the only way to solve the problem is to find the cause. I'll get you out of town tomorrow. You go find this man. It should help a lot." However, by the next day, the woman spent $300,000 to paint her tank her favorite pink color, because it's the only thing worthy of the head of the Northeastern Army. The woman's name is Diao. This is the first time she's ever taken her favorite tank out, because today she's going to rob a man, the last male in the world. The escort on the other side blocked the Northeastern Army to death. Captain Han Ying rushes into battle in his underwear, because she was just about to forcibly violate that last man. But then this Diao girl interrupted her. Diao also saw something wrong with Han Ying's outfit. She scolded angrily, "I'm sure you must have kidnapped my man by looking at your slutty dress." And Han Ying, not to be outdone, said, "You're a slut. That man doesn't work at all. I've already killed him." Diao froze for 3 seconds when she heard that. Then she yelled, "Fire!" I'm the last male. The director of the Jiangnan house is going to send little sister and me to the biologists. Hope to find the reason for the extinction of men in me. But as soon as we left the house, we were surrounded by the guards. So Han Ying had already ordered, "No one can let me go." Upon seeing this, the director immediately lowered his face and said, "Get out of the way." The girls on the other side of the room didn't move a muscle. Now she's really pissed off, because everyone in the escort has survived on her supplies for the last 3 years. And now they're turning on her for a man. The director wrapped her skirt around her and kicked the girl out of the way. Then she said loudly, "I will personally escort you today. Who dares to stop me?" By nightfall, director has driven us to Shanghai. Looking at this silent city, it's impossible to imagine how busy it used to be. The streets are occasionally lined with pedestrians, but they're all women. Suddenly, 3 people appeared in the alley, acting strangely. I'm looking at them. It's 2 women bullying a man. Is there a second man in this world besides me? I immediately yelled, "Director, stop the car, there's a man there. We're going to save him." And the director said, unusually calmly, "You better not go, because there can't be a man here." At this point, I can't listen to her. I grabbed my pistol and got out of the car, raised my gun and yelled, "Let him go." The 2 women see that I'm very serious. "Look at our car, it's an official car." They left immediately. And when I walked up and saw this man, it was another fake man dressed as a woman. Suddenly there was a loud bang. Director's car was hit by a speeding car. Director's car window shattered instantly. The huge impact also made the director in the car feel uncomfortable. The front end of the car that hit her is completely deformed, and smoke is coming out. The airbags in the car have popped as well. A normal person would have been seriously injured. The man in the car looks up. It's actually Sister Na? She looks like she's unharmed. I don't know how she got rid of Hong Ying and chased her here. Sister Na said with an evil smile. You made it so hard for me to find you. Director took one look and saw that it was Sister Na coming after me and yelled at me. Go away, leave this place to me. I had a stony look on my face. I can't believe Na chased me here. Sister Na got into one of her cars and said, you go after them. I grabbed little sister and said, let's go. The two of us ran out of the alley just in time to see a bicycle parked on the side of the road. Since the bike doesn't have a back seat, the man lets his little sister sit in the front basket. And at that moment Na's men came after her. She runs too fast. I knocks over all the tables, chairs and benches on the side of the road, trying to put up a bit of an obstacle. But it would only slightly stop that guy for a little while. Soon she's back on her heels. That's when little sister saw the pistol on my belt. She quickly drew my pistol and skillfully turned on the safety. I'm a little confused by this maneuver. When did little sister learn to use a gun? I see little sister aiming at Na's men, but her hands are trembling badly. The finger on the trigger would never go down. The enemy is getting closer and closer. Sister finally gritted her teeth, closed her eyes and pulled the trigger with both hands. But due to her nervousness, the bullet missed. The pistol fell to the ground. Her fell headfirst as well. I quickly grabbed my sister's clothes to keep her from falling. When we got to a crowded place, I had the bright idea to yell out, spies from the Northeast Army are here. Sure enough, it's a good trick. People on the road looked at her one after another, their faces full of hostility. After catching up, she had to stop chasing in order to prevent being surrounded. I turned into another intersection. She watched and turned decisively and ran the other way. As I ran, I looked back and realized the enemy had disappeared. I stared at the intersection in front of me, realizing that the woman might come around from somewhere else. As we get closer and closer, we're about to meet at the intersection. I can't help but feel nervous. Just as I was racking my brain for a response, suddenly, a door opens on the side of the road. A figure rushed out and said quickly to me, come on in. This man was the fake man I had just saved. At that moment, I followed the fake man and rushed through the door. The enemy had already reached the intersection by this time. She looked around and saw no sign of me. At once she was puzzled. When she looked up, she saw this sign instead. She was instantly shocked, because this is a stronghold of the men's club. The rest of the way is smooth. We soon arrived at the biologist's lab. In the 3 months since then, I didn't move an inch in the lab, cooperating with the biologists in their various experiments on me. The problem of artificial insemination has finally been solved, and the genetic modification experiment is complete. The sex of a fertilized egg can be modified on its own. I'm sure more men will be born in the near future. I made up the last-minute ending. The author of this manhwa is no longer updating, so the plot can only go so far. Thank you for watching. I will bring you a better work.